Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about Notion again, and I'm going to be answering a bunch of your commonly asked questions from my previous video. So if you've seen my Notion tour video and my Notion tutorial video and you left some questions on there, then this video is probably for you because I'm going to be answering a bunch of your commonly asked questions from those videos. And I'm also excited to share that this video is sponsored by Notion. Of course, I had to say yes to working with them because I use Notion every single day. I've been using it since January, since I posted my first video, and since then I have not gone one day without using my Notion. It helps me organize every aspect of my life. So I'm super excited to be partnering with them today. And it's also thanks to you guys for watching my previous videos. So thank you to you, and also thank you to Notion for sponsoring today's video. I'm going to be talking about a few things, especially regarding my agenda, my content planner, and my habit tracker. And also keep in mind that I set up my Notion in a way that works for me and my workflow. And I'll also go over like why I did what I did with my template. So that's enough rambling. Let's jump into the video. So starting off with some general questions, the first one is Notion free? Yes, everything that I did in my workspace is completely free. You can pay for Notion, you can pay for certain features of Notion, but everything that I did is completely free. And everything that I showed you how to do in my last two videos and in this video is completely free. The next common question was, how do I use your template? It's super easy. Just click the link in my description box, and then in the top right corner, you will see a button that says duplicate. So you're gonna press duplicate and log in with your account. So you're gonna sign into your account if you're not already signed in, or create a new account if you don't have one yet, and then it's going to duplicate it and add it to your workspace. If you already have a bunch of pages that you already created for your own personal workspace, they'll still be there. It's not like my template is gonna override whatever you already had. As you can see, I created some test pages, and these are pages that I created before adding my template, and they're still here. They weren't deleted or anything. So you don't need to worry about losing any work that you did previously. So these are all of the pages that come with my template, and now they're yours. Now you can use them, customize them to whatever way that fits your needs. So another question that I got is, how do you resize images? So most of the images that I have in my pages are from Pinterest. And on my dashboard, for example, I have 5 photos at the bottom, and they're all square. But if you go on Pinterest, you'll see that they weren't actually squares. At least 3 of them weren't. So if you want them all to be like the same size, like all square or like all rectangular, here's what you can do. You can find the photos that you like, that you want to add to your page, and open them in a new tab. So I'm just right clicking on each photo and pressing open image in new tab. These other 2 photos are already squares, so I don't need to worry about them. But for the other 3, you'll see that they open in a new tab, and it's only the image. So then what I do is a little keyboard shortcut to take a screenshot, which is Command-Shift-5. And it's gonna bring up these dotted lines, and what you can do is resize it to whatever dimensions you want. So for me, I want it to be a square. So I'm just gonna resize it, and it's convenient because you can see the size of the selection with the numbers at the top. So I want it to be a square, so I want the length and the width of my selection to be the same. So you can see the numbers are 460 pixels by 460 pixels, which would make a square. And then you can move this box around based on where you want to take the screenshot. So I just want to capture the middle of this photo. And then when you have your selection, just press enter, and then it'll take a screenshot. And that screenshot is going to end up on your desktop. So again, I am on a MacBook, so all of the controls are for Macs. If you're on like a Windows computer or a non-Mac computer, then the keyboard shortcut might be a little bit different, but it should be the same concept where you just take a screenshot and then add the screenshot to your Notion page. So I'm going to do it again with the other 2 photos. So I'm going to do the shortcut again, which is Command-Shift-5. It'll save your previous settings. So since I did a square for the last photo, it should already be a square. So I'm going to adjust the selection just a little bit like that. Press enter, and you'll know it took a screenshot because this little image at the bottom right corner pops up. It'll go away in a few seconds, but then if you check your desktop, the photo should be there. And we'll do that one last time with this photo. Command-Shift-5, adjust the selection. And if I wanted to be really particular, I could extend it a little bit on the sides, but then I'll also need to extend it at the top to make sure that it is a true square. Adjust the selection again, and hit enter. So now you should have all 3 of your screenshots on your desktop. And now you're going to go back to your page, select your screenshots, and drag them onto your page. So here they are. They are very large, as you can see, but I'm going to add the other two photos. So let's go back to Pinterest. And for the other two photos, I'm just gonna copy them straight from Pinterest and Command V to paste. And now we have all 5 here. And I'm gonna start off by resizing the first one just because it's really big. So I'm just gonna resize it to that size for now. And then to make them go side by side, click the 6 dots on the left-hand side and drag it until you see the blue bar appear on the side of the previous image. So I'm just gonna recreate what I already did. So I'm gonna drag this one in front of the airplane window photo. So now they're side by side. You have 2 columns and your photos are in each one of those columns. So the outfit photo is bigger, so to resize this one to make it the same size as the airplane window one, so you see this gray bar here, just click and drag it until the other image is the same size. So by doing this, you're resizing the column, which also resizes the image, but I'll undo what I just did and show you what happens if you only resize the image. So I'm pressing Command Z to undo. So if you hover over the side of the image, click and drag, you'll be able to resize only the image, but then it leaves this big space. And I don't want that, so that's why I resize the entire column. So let's add in the rest of the photos. This photo should go on the left side of the outfit photo. So I'm gonna click the 6 dots, drag, look for the blue bar, and release. So now the images are not the same size anymore, but that's okay, we can fix that later. I'm just gonna drop in the photos in the correct order and then we'll resize it. So this image goes on the left again. So click the 6 dots, drag, and release. And this last image goes in between these 2 photos. So click, drag, look for the blue line, and release. So I'm going to resize these 2 images by hovering over the middle of the images so that this gray column bar shows up. Click it and then drag it. And now they're all the same size. So now let's talk about my agenda. I think this is where the bulk of the questions were. One of the issues that I was having was that I wasn't able to keep the columns when I dragged my agenda into a toggle. But I realized it wasn't actually a huge issue that the columns disappeared because I haven't even gone back to my archive to look at a previous week. Like, I've never done that. So it's honestly not a huge issue. But if you do want to keep the columns, I did figure out a way to keep the columns in a toggle. But you have to set it up in your new week button. So I also created this button. I showed you how to create it in my last video, but I'll show you again here. So here's my updated template for my agenda. And as you can see, the agenda is already in a toggle. So instead of turning the header into a toggle when the week is done, you're gonna already start with the week being in a toggle. That way, when the week is over, all you have to do is collapse this week and drag it into the archive. And then if you go into your archive and expand the toggle, all of your columns are still in place. This is what the archived weeks looked like before, but with my new template, this is what they'll look like now. So I'm gonna collapse that and go back to my agenda, and I'll show you how I set it up. But you know, if you don't wanna actually do the manual work to set it up yourself, you can just duplicate my template and copy the agenda to your workspace. But here's how I set it up. So this is my new week template button that I use every time I want to create a new spread for a new week. I do this like every Sunday night to get ready for the week ahead. So I'm going to delete this and just start fresh so you can see step by step what to do. So you're going to create a template button, click to create a template button. And this whole highlighted blue section is where you're going to create your button. And I'm going to rename this new week, and then in here is where you're going to drop all of your blocks. So the main difference is to make the header a toggle, not a heading, because before it was just a heading, but now we're going to make it a toggle. That way you don't need to turn the header into a toggle later. So we're going to create a toggle list, and I'm going to create the heading for the week. And I like to turn the number, month, and days into code, but it's really just the formatting that I like. I like that it turns it red so that every time I make a new week, I remember to update that. So to do that, I'm just gonna highlight the text and press Command E. Then you can see it gets this little gray background and the text turns red. I'm really just doing this for aesthetic purposes. But like I said, it helps me remember to change those parts of the heading for whatever week we're in. And then the last thing that I do is bold everything. So I select all the text and press Command B to bold it. So that's my heading. So the next thing is kind of tricky, but as you can see, you can't actually create columns in a template button. I'm trying to drag this row next to the previous row to create a column, but that vertical blue line is not showing up. So that means I can't create a column in the template button. So instead, what you're gonna have to do is create a page, and within that page, create the columns, drag that page into the template button, and then turn that page into text. So here's what I mean. You're gonna create a page. This is your new page. You don't need to name it, but in this page is where you're gonna set up all of the columns for your agenda. So if we look back on my old agenda, you can see that I have a mini calendar and then I have the 7 days of the week. So let's go back into our new page. And just to make it easy, I'm gonna turn on full width. I usually have full width on for all of my pages because I like having more space. And then I'm just gonna create all of the columns. So we're gonna start off with Monday. And to make the text serif and italicized, I highlight it and press Command Shift E. And this actually turns it into an equation, but again, this isn't the real way to use this function. I just do it for aesthetics. So once you do that shortcut, press Enter. And then what I do is change the color of the background. So a shortcut is to type /color and then go down to the background color that you want. I want a yellow background. So we'll press yellow, press enter, and now you've got a yellow background. And then instead of doing that all over again for each day of the week, I'm gonna make it easy on myself, do another shortcut and press the Option key, click the 6 dots, and drag down to a new row. And that duplicates a row. So I'm gonna do that 3 more times, and then I'm gonna type out the rest of the days of the week. So we have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And now I'm gonna create the columns. So I'm gonna click the 6 dots and drag it to the side of Monday until I see the blue bar and release. And I'm gonna do the same thing on Wednesday. And then Thursday through Sunday are gonna be all on the same row. So I'm just gonna add those all next to each other. And then I usually have 3 rows beneath each day. And on the top row, I'm gonna create a to-do list. And here I'm gonna create a divider, /divider. And lastly, we'll do another to-do list. And that's how I set up each day. I have my priority tasks on the top and then other random tasks for the day at the bottom of the divider. And then I'm gonna select these 3 rows, copy them and paste them under each day. But as you can see, I just pasted the rows, but it's taking up the entire width of the page rather than only staying under Thursday. So what I'm gonna do is, since it's all still selected, just click the 6 dots and drag it underneath Thursday. Then you can see the blue bar appeared. That's how you know where the rows are gonna be placed. And that's how I know it's gonna be only under the Thursday column. So now I can release, and now they're all under Thursday. But for the rest of the days, that's not an issue. All I have to do is paste the rows. And now we pretty much have the week set up. All we have to do now is add in the mini calendar. So I'm gonna go to indify.co, use their Google Calendar widget, create the widget and copy the code, go back to my Notion page, and I'm just gonna add it to the bottom of the page for now, and then Command V to paste the code. But you need to create an embed with it. And there's your calendar. And then I like to put my calendar in front of Monday, so I'm gonna click the 6 dots and drag it in front of Monday until the blue bar shows up and release. And now we have our whole week set up. If you want the calendar on the right-hand side, you can do that as well. Just click the 6 dots again, drag it next to Wednesday, look for the blue vertical bar, and release. And I'll show you how to set up this mini calendar as well. That was another question that I had, but we'll go over it in a couple minutes. So anyway, here's the completed week. And now remember, we're in a page, so we're gonna go out of this page, go back to our agenda, and now everything that we just did is in this page. So now you have to go back into the template button. So press this little gear that says configure template. I'm gonna delete these rows because we don't need it anymore. And then take this page and drag it into the toggle. You'll see that the page is still there. Then you're gonna turn this page into text. So click the 6 dots, turn into, and then select text. And now you have your weekly spread with all of the columns. So I'm gonna close out of this. And let's say I'm getting ready for a new week. I'll just press the new week button. My toggle heading will appear and I'll just expand it. So from here, I'll just change the week number, change the dates. So for this current week, it was from November 22nd to the 28th. And I know that because I can just conveniently look at my little mini calendar here. I like to start my weeks on Mondays and end it on Sundays. And then I can add in whatever tasks I have coming up for the week. That's pretty much how I use my agenda. And that's also how I set up my agenda. And then on Sunday night, when the week is over and I'm getting ready for the new week, all I have to do is press my new week button to create the new week. Change the heading, so week 48, which goes from November 29th through December 5th. Collapse the toggle for the old week and drag the old week into my archive. Then when I go into the archive, the old week will be there with all of the columns. So there's my little solution to keeping the columns in my agenda. So hopefully that helps for you guys. Okay, now let's talk about the mini calendar. I'll show you exactly how I got this little calendar. So how I got this calendar is by using a widget found on indify.co. It's a website with a bunch of Notion widgets, and they have a widget that connects to your Google Calendar that you can use in your Notion pages. So here's what the website looks like. You have to create an account, but it's free. All of this is free, like I said. I already have one of the widgets from when I created my tutorial previously, but they have a bunch of other widgets, as you can see. Like you can create a button, you can have a clock, a countdown, a counter, but I use the Google Calendar widget. So I'm going to create the widget. So I'll show you step by step, and it brings you to this page, which is where you're going to customize your widget. So first you have to sign in to your Google account because, like I said, it connects to your Google Calendar. So you need a Google account in order to use this. So just sign in with your Google account. I'm going to select my account, press continue. Login was successful. So now I can close this window. It's going to refresh and update. So now it's connected to your Google Calendar. And then here is where you're going to select the calendar that you want the widget to pull from. So right now it's pulling from my actual calendar, but I actually want a completely clean calendar. I don't want to see any events on it whatsoever, because the reason that I'm putting the little calendar in my agenda is just so that I can see what day of the week a certain date is. I don't need to see all of the events that I have planned. If I wanted to actually do that, I'll just open up Google Calendar in another tab in my browser. So I mentioned this in my previous video, but I actually created a separate calendar that's completely blank. And that blank calendar is what I used as the calendar in the widget. Plus the calendar in my agenda is so small that I'm not going to be able to see any of the events anyway. So there's like no point in having the events show. And there's no way to like turn off the events either. They're just there because they're pulling from your actual Google Calendar. So what I did was create a completely new calendar that's completely blank, and I created it specifically to use in this widget. But it's really easy. I just created a new calendar in Google Calendar. So let me show you what I mean. You're going to go to your Google Calendar, press this gear icon at the top right, and go to settings. Then on the left side, click add calendar, create new calendar, create a new calendar name. I named my Notion, but I already have a Notion calendar, so I'm just going to name it Notion 2 just for example purposes, and then create calendar. And if you go back, I'm going to toggle off my regular calendar and the holidays calendar, turn on my Notion calendar, and now you just have a blank calendar, and that's exactly what I want. So now that I have my blank calendar, I'm going to go back to Indify, and then you might need to refresh the page. So press Command R to refresh, click the drop down, and select your new calendar. Now you'll have your blank calendar, and then you can further customize the calendar on the left hand side here with all of these options. But what I do is hide the view selector. So it's going to hide these selections at the top right, and then you can even change the color of the little blue bubble. So my Notion page has like yellow brownish tones, so let's do like a yellow color. And I'm good with everything else, so now I'm gonna copy the link here at the bottom. So I'm just gonna press the clipboard, I'm gonna go back to my agenda, and then for example purposes, I'm gonna delete our old calendar, click on a new row, and Command V to paste. And then I'm gonna create an embed with the link, and now we have our mini calendar. But as you can see, I can't drag it in front of Monday to create a column in front of Monday because you can't create columns in a toggle. So I would have had to do all of this when I was creating the page for the template button. So remember, this is what it looked like when we were creating the page to put into the template button. I'm gonna do the same thing that we did before. And now I'm gonna paste the link here, create embed, and then drag the calendar in front of Monday. And there you have it. Next up, I got questions on how I created the links in my sidebar on my content planner. So this is my content planner. It's where I plan all of my content for my social medias. And on the left-hand side is my links to all of my socials. So this is actually really easy. What I did was first add an emoji, add text, and then hyperlink the text. So let's just recreate it. I'm gonna open the shortcut for emojis, which on Mac is Control, Command, Shift. And then if I'm recreating YouTube, it looks like this is a little TV emoji. So I'm gonna just type in TV, and then I'm gonna type YouTube and highlight the text and press Command K, and this will give you the ability to add a link to the highlighted text. So I want it to link to my YouTube channel, so I'm just gonna type in the URL to my YouTube channel or open up my YouTube channel and copy and paste the link into this text box. And then I'm gonna press enter, and now you have your link. And then I think I added an extra space, so I just added an extra space between the emoji and the text, and there you have it. And then moving on to my habit tracker. I did get a question on how I fill in the dates for each row. And for that, I actually do it on a Google Sheet. I create all the dates on the sheet, copy it, and then paste it into the Notion table. That's just the easiest way that I found to do it. I don't think there's a way to automatically populate each of the days. I tried to Google it and there was a long process that I found, and I just found it easier to copy and paste from the Google Sheet. But if you do know of a way to make each tracker auto-populate per month, then leave it in the comments below. So here's my Google Sheet where I have every day of the year organized by month per column. And I'll share this sheet with you as well. It'll be linked in my description box. That way you don't need to do this all manually yourself. And then for every new month in my habit tracker, I'll just select all of the dates and then copy paste it into my habit tracker on my Notion. So let's say I want to set up my December habit tracker. I'm going to go back to my Notion page and duplicate this table. So I'm going to do my shortcut where I press Option, click the 6 dots, drag, and release. So now I created a copy of the previous month. Let's name this December. Go back to my Google Sheet, go to December, select all the dates, press Command C to copy, go back to my habit tracker, click on the first date, and then press Command V to paste the dates. And then for the old month, all I do is go down to my archive, create a new line, a new toggle, name it whatever the previous month was, and drop it into the toggle. That's all I do for the archive. And then the other reason that I like to duplicate the table to create a new tracker for the new month is because I personally like to have these multi-select columns in my tracker, mostly just to track my skincare. So within those selections, I have each of my options. So I'll have like my cleanser, a toner, a serum, but I'll have like all of my products that I'm currently using listed out, and it's super easy. I don't need to like manually enter all the products every time. So for example, realistically, this tracker would have been used, but let's say I wanted to create a tracker for the new month of March. I would just duplicate this tracker, go to my sheet, select the dates, copy, go back to my tracker, paste, select all of the cells that are filled in, and then just press delete. That way you're starting off with a clean slate again. That way you'll still have all of your options for your drop-down list. I'm like always updating the skincare column with like new products that I'm trying out. So I'd rather just add the new option once and then duplicate the table so that whatever options that I had in the previous month carry over to the new month. Alright, so that is all for today's video. I hope I answered more of your questions, and like before, my template will be linked in my description box, so check that out. It is updated with all the changes that I showed you in this video. Thank you again to Notion for sponsoring today's video, and I hope that my videos help you navigate Notion a little bit easier because it is such a powerful tool. It is free, like I mentioned. You can see how much you can accomplish already with just the free version. So thank you, Notion, and thank you guys for watching my videos. I'm just so happy that I'm able to help some people out and make them feel more comfortable with using Notion, because I know there is a learning curve, but once you learn the ropes, it's really fun, and I'm just here to help show you the ropes. But if I missed your question, I'm so sorry. Leave them in the comments and I'll try to respond to it. But yeah, that's it. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!